Okay, so we've got Ken versus Mai. And you say, I'm a mid-master player, hard plateau at 15-20-ish, bad at hit confirming, crouch medium kick drive rush, and decision making and strings. Okay, that's quite a negative self-appraisal. You're the Mai, okay. Didn't you hear? Mai is literally uncontested top 1. Just win harder, lol. It's that easy. Just EX fan? That might be my advice here.
Gotta do this.
When EX fan is not on screen, all characters should be saying, where's EX fan? Okay. 10 out of 10. Perfect Mai gameplay. No criticisms. We're moving on. Next replay. You've already mastered Mai. I have nothing more to teach you. Nice. Alright, let's have a look. Okay. EX fan dash into EX fan dash. Nice bait. Okay. A little bit risky on the DI. Okay, you're very aggressive right now, and it's coming back to bite you. Let's have a look. Nice anti-air. Nice anti-air again. Okay, perfect parry anti-air is not ideal. Ah, okay. I think I see what's going on here. Yeah, okay. You are doing kind of the reverse of what I mentioned earlier. So, I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to smother your opponent as quickly as possible before they can adapt to you. But you're giving away so much information about yourself so quickly. So the first EX fan, fine, no problems with it. The second one, again, it's one of the best moves in the game, so I can't really criticize you for using EX fan, but you've used 4 bars of drive in the first 4 seconds of the round. You are on a 1 drive per second rate right now, which is not inherently a mistake, but I would be very cautious about how much drive you're spending this quickly. It does kind of work out, though. You get the hit here, which is fine. Nice bait on the DP. I think you can do a better combo than what you did. Yeah, so you're starting with, you're starting the punch with Stand Fierce here. You can do this. You're near the corner, so you can start with Stand Heavy Kick, which I think is better. You could also, I will say, if you want to be technically even more optimal, you could actually go for the DI punish here, like this. Double DI punish might be an option too, because your opponent is so low on drive. This would burn them out. And then you could start bullying with fans like this. So that's also an option available to you. So you could have got more damage, but there was also a secret second option, which is you could have gone for a drive attack, which is good for Mai, because Mai has very good burnout pressure in the corner, because you can just bully with fans all day, every day. So, yeah, you can do a bit more there. Yeah, so, again, the EX fan here is fine. You're consistently putting yourself in a slightly dangerous position with your drive gauge. I think you're overusing it a little bit, but that's okay. 2.5 bars is not too bad. I think this DI is very risky and unnecessarily high risk for what the reward would be. Because if you think about, you got to think about, like, actually what is the outcome of this exchange, right? Best case scenario for you is that this DI goes through and you get to do maybe 2,000 damage tops in this position, because you're not going to spend any more drive on the punish. Best case scenario, you get 2,000 damage. Worst case scenario, your opponent counter DIs, and you are now in burnout with 0 bars. So I think that is an extremely steep risk you took here, but it worked out okay. They did parry, which now puts you at a pretty nasty drive disadvantage. Stand medium punch here was risky, but it worked. I'll allow it. You are hitting a lot of buttons though. Like, there's kind of similar to the last one I looked at. Stand medium punch, stand heavy kick. It feels like you're having the same issue, which is that when you get too close to the opponent, you're feeling kind of suffocated and you need to be doing something. It's not illegal to just hold down back, you know? I know you paid $60 for this game, but it's okay to just sort of like slow down for a second. Because I think the other reason why... Here's the other thing. I think the reason why you're feeling like you need to be pressing buttons a lot is because I can tell that you're feeling like I'm dangerously close to burnout, and I need to stop that from happening. So I think that's partly why you're pressing a lot of buttons in situations like this, because you don't want to get put into burnout. But like, you put yourself into this situation in the first place by spending too much drive too quickly. So you got a life lead early, but it came at the cost of way too much drive, and you've also given away tons of information about your playstyle to your opponent, and your opponent kind of adapted towards the end of the round. They realized that you're a hyper-aggressive player, and even though you've got a big life lead, I would say in this position, Ken is actually probably ahead. Yeah, the position that you're in now is just a symptom of the excessively high drive gauge you spent earlier. This isn't too bad though, you're getting back up towards 3. But again, see, like, you need to be letting your drive gauge recover more than that. Like, it feels like the moment that you get over 3 bars of drive, you're just like, okay, EX fan time. Which, again, it is one of the best moves in the game, so I can't be too critical about EX fan usage. But you're constantly putting yourself at a dangerous drive threshold where, like, especially against Ken. It's especially bad against Ken because Ken is like the drive gauge destroyer, this motherfucker. In this position, like, one stand fierce into Jinrai is gonna burn you out. And eventually, you know, he gets the empty jump throw. And then you panic, and now it's just, you know, you're fucked, basically. Don't think you needed to level 1 here. Bearing in mind, you got put into burnout in this position, you've still got tons of screen real estate to work with. You're nowhere near the corner right now, okay? You can actually just, like, let them bully you for a little while to see if you can find any openings. For me, what it comes down to is intent, I guess, because whether or not that's a good or a bad level 1 is more about the intent behind it. This is another thing that I think is important to think about. It's not just like, did my reversal super work, yes or no? That's not what you should be asking yourself, okay? What you need to be asking yourself is, when I did that wake up level 1, what was I reading? Did I genuinely have a read that my opponent was going to go for a meaty, or did I just panic? Like, was there intent behind your actions, or were you just panicking and doing a reversal? Because it's okay. I think it's okay if you wake up super and your opponent blocks it, as long as you had the feeling of, like, I'm 80% sure this will work based on the information I've gathered about my opponent's habits. If it was an informed read, but it was wrong, that's fine. You know, that's not an issue. Everyone makes wrong reads. You can bait DP 86 times in a row, and then when you finally go for a meaty on number 87, your opponent might let rip the DP. And that's frustrating when that happens, but at least you're thinking about your opponent's habits. So whether or not it's a good wake-up super is not about, for me at least, it's not about did it work or not. It's about, did I have the right intent when I did it? Was I actively scouting for my opponent's habits, or was I just panicking and tilting? That's what I think about. Yeah, that's just checkmate. Okay. Okay. I don't know about doing drive rush stand fierce. You've done that a couple times here, just to pause real quick. You started this round with a couple of drive rush fierces, and I don't know if this is a great normal to drive rush with, because this is only +1 on block, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is only +1, and it does like a buttload of pushback, so you can't really threaten a throw or anything after this. You'd probably be better off doing like drive rush jab here, I think. And then you put your opponent in like a tick throw situation. Okay. Yeah, that's the downside. That's the downside of EX Fan right there. It's a very good projectile, but you're vulnerable to characters with good EX fireballs here. Yeah, so I think like I said, I think you're giving away too much information about yourself you're trying to smother your opponent before they get a chance to adapt, which I feel like might give you the sense that you're doing well early in round 1. You might get like a fat life lead in round 1, but I feel like the effect wears off pretty quickly. I feel like this Ken kind of adapted to you, slowed down their game plan and started playing more reactive. I think you need to plan your drive gauge usage a bit more, rather than spend like so much of it so early and then try and close out the round before they burn you out in return. Advice on when to jump fireballs? Again, it's about intent. It's exactly the same thing. It's about intent. When it comes to jumping fireballs, if you think to yourself, okay, I've studied my opponent's fireball patterns, now I'm like 75% sure they're going to throw a fireball right now, and you jump and they anti-air you, that's fine, because at least your jump was an informed jump based on information you have pulled from your opponent's habits. Alright. Damn, you're up against El Chacote, huh? We have a Grandmaster Juri against El Chacote. I don't have a real game plan versus Lily, so I end up not doing a lot. Well, I would say first thing is that you need to be doing a lot, because if you let this character get too far away and she starts getting wind charges, you're in trouble. Let's have a look. Are you too passive? Are the rumors true? I mean, Juri is blessed with a fast drive rush, so I think you probably do need to be aggressive here. Okay. With punish. Nice shimmy. I don't know about the EX spend there. Again, this is one of those marginal cases where, you know, there's not really like a true right or wrong answer, but I would say that after doing the drive rush here, you're down to about 3 bars, and you get the clean hit with punish counters down medium punch. I don't know if I agree with spending EX immediately afterwards, because you're now in a kind of scary spot on the next Oki situation. You get a bit of drive back because of EX recovery. Yeah, but you see now you're in a bad spot. This is a good example of like where that came back to bite you almost instantly, because he backdashed out of your next Oki situation and then made you block a heavy, and Lily can chunk your drive. Yeah. So now you're down sub 1 bar, and it's like you basically can't parry here because punish counter SPD exists. So you're in a pretty rough spot. So I think that up until that point, I think you were doing fine, but I think that decision to tag on that EX move kind of instantly like reduced your chances of winning the round. Unfortunately, Street Fighter 6 is drive management the game. But you're not burned out yet. You're starting to get back a little bit. Okay. Nice DP. Okay. Again, it feels like you're getting into these positions where you're kind of just starting to claw back a little bit of momentum. Like, you're okay. Right here, you're actually in a pretty decent spot right here. Your health is lower than you'd like it to, but your drive gauge is starting to recover, and you've put yourself in a plus frame situation by making him block the spaced fireball. So you're actually in a decent spot here, but I get the sense that you feel like you're pressured when you're the one that should feel like you're pressuring them. Like, it seems like you're nervous. Maybe it's because you think of Chacote as being like, you know, a known player or whatever. But it feels like you're a bit nervous. When you're finally starting to claw back a bit of momentum, you then sort of panic a little bit. Yeah, that drive rush is pretty much game over. Yeah, other than that, you know, drive management could use a little bit of tightening up. Everything else has been fine so far. Nice whiff punish. That's fine. I don't really mind getting hit by Lily's level 1 early in a round. Doesn't really do anything for her. She doesn't get Oki off level 1, really. Okay, nice whiff punish, but no conversion. Yeah. I get it. It is hard to whiff punish Lily. It is hard. I like what you went for here. This is again what I was talking about earlier about intent. It didn't work out for you here because you were a little bit too slow on the whiff punish, but you pressed the right button in the right situation here. If you'd done this maybe like 10 frames earlier, a little bit quicker, that would have been punish counter stand fierce. So it was the right choice, but just a little bit mistimed. Okay. So in this situation, I feel like you were like trying to force the issue a little bit. You did stand fierce drive rush, which is fine. But like realistically, there is no universe here where Lily does a delay tech. Like specifically Chakotay. Like if you're up against like a top player, they are not gonna tech here. Never. Like especially if this was a tournament or something, no one on the planet is gonna bite on this. Like you're trying to force like a counter hit to try and do some damage, but I think you just need to kind of cash out and take the guaranteed throw there because he was never gonna tech there. Rip, I do that all the time. Yeah, it's tricky because you're kind of thinking that like I need to make something happen here. I need to land like a big hit to offset this life deficit, but you need to just accept sometimes that you have to just take the guaranteed throw, even if it is a bit unsatisfying spending 3 bars of drive for like 2,000 damage max. So I would, I think in that last exchange, you were just hoping that your opponent made a mistake and he just didn't. But yeah, no, I think your Juri is good. I just think you need to work on your drive management a bit and not panic when you're starting to recover drive. No massive mistakes or anything. All right, I have reviewed some replays.